So the first thing I want to do today is just to encourage you to stay connected on what's happening throughout the region. You can access upcoming events, new resources, and more at our website at psso.ca. We are working really hard to make sure that we keep those resources up to date for you. So if you're looking for something, that is a great first place to turn. I also want to thank and acknowledge the Ontario Trillium Foundation for generously supporting all of our educational initiatives. And just briefly want to provide our medical disclaimer. The information provided in today's webinar is for the purpose of health education and is not intended or should be intended as a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Please consult and review information with your physician or qualified healthcare professional regarding your medical condition and treatment and before undertaking a new healthcare regimen. This information is not intended to replace medical advice offered by physicians. So thank you again for being with us. Today we have Megan and Courtney, who have been our occupational therapy students with us throughout the summer. They have been wonderful and have put together a great presentation for you today. I will just quickly provide a brief intro for both of them. Megan is finishing the first year of her Master's of Occupational Therapy at Western University. While at Parkinson's Society, Southwestern Ontario, Megan hopes to increase her understanding of Parkinson's disease and use an occupational therapy lens to tackle different areas within the field. One fun fact about Megan is that she has never had coffee. That's a big feat as a student. And over to Courtney. Courtney is finishing her first year of the occupational therapy program at Western University. She is interested in the personalized, client-centered nature of the profession and is excited to learn about the amazing work being done at Parkinson's Society, Southwestern Ontario, and the occupational therapy role within the organization. A fun fact about Courtney is that she has a German Shepherd named Zuri. So one last final thing for me before I turn it over to Megan and Courtney. Please leave your questions to the end of the presentation. And in order for me to help to field the questions, please enter them into the chat so that I can help Megan and Courtney get those questions answered for you. And as I said, this webinar is recorded and will be sent to you along with any presenter resources at the end. So Megan and Courtney, I will turn it over to you.
Thank you. Okay, so thank you for joining us, everyone, today. As mentioned, we'll be doing a webinar on assistive devices for daily living to make your life more enriching. So before we begin, we would like to acknowledge that Western University is located on the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, and the Lenape-Wuk and the Adawandaron peoples on lands connected with the London Township and Sombra Treaties of 1796 and the Dish with One Spoon Covenant Wampum. This land continues to be home to diverse Indigenous peoples, for example, First Nations, the Métis, and Inuit, whom we recognize as contemporary stewards of the land and vital contributors of our society. So just as another little introduction to us, I'll begin. My name is Megan. I did a Bachelor's of Health Sciences with honors specialization in rehabilitation sciences at Western. I have an interest of future working in palliative care. And then while at PSSO, one of my favorite moments has been getting to learn more about Parkinson's and getting to meet the amazing people by visiting all the support groups.
And just a second introduction for myself. My name is Courtney. I did my Bachelor of Science in Biology and Environmental Science at Mount Allison. And I'm very interested in an OT practice focusing on a rehabilitation lens. And then while at PSSO, I've been enjoying deepening my understanding and practice knowledge of OT through interacting with the wonderful individuals that we've had the chance to meet.
So just before we begin, we wanted to take this time to thank our two preceptors who made all of our learning possible. So thank you to Mandy and Jeff for giving us so many opportunities to facilitate our growth and knowledge of occupational therapy through the work being done at PSSO and having to listen to Courtney and I. So as we begin today, we're going to just begin with an introduction and overview on what occupational therapy is, a little introduction on assistive devices. Then we'll begin demonstrations of assistive devices in the bedroom, the bathroom, as well as them for mobility. And then at the end, as mentioned, we'll do a Q&A and a wrap up. So just to introduce occupational therapy, we thought we would use the college. So the Canadian Association of Occupational Therapists defines occupational therapy as a type of healthcare that helps to solve the problems that interfere with a person's ability to do the things that are important to them. This includes everyday things like self-care, so getting dressed, eating, moving around the house, being productive, so going to school or participating in the community, and leisure activities like sports, gardening, and socializing.
So, given how diverse the field of OT is, the settings in which an OT may work are also very diverse, and the role is going to vary slightly depending on that setting. So, for example, in a hospital setting, an OT is going to work closely with other healthcare professionals and may help primarily with preparing patients for discharge home. So, this may look like physical strengthening, task retraining, mobility training, mental functioning, and any other rehabilitative needs that are going to aim to improve home safety and desired independence in the home once returned. Next, in the community, OTs working in this role are very versatile. So these roles typically aim to promote the overall health of a community by enabling its individuals to engage in the activities they wish to. What this means is that OTs are going to work closely with community members to find out what barriers exist that are stopping them from completing the activities they wish to, and work with them to find solutions to allow them to participate in these activities. So OTs in the community might work in settings such as schools, community centers, nonprofits such as PSSO, shelters, assisted living homes, or clinics. And then lastly, and perhaps the most relevant to our discussion today, an OT working in the home is going to work very closely with individual clients on their individual goals. So the OT in this setting would work on improving home safety and increasing a client's ability to move about their home and do the tasks they wish to engage in. So such activities in the home might commonly include self-care activities, such as bathing, dressing, eating, toileting, or sleeping. And an OT in this role would likely recommend home safety equipment, such as the assistive devices we'll talk about today, or environmental modifications or changes to the tasks themselves.
Okay, and then given how versatile we are, as mentioned by Courtney, there's a lot of skills that OTs need to be able to have. So today we're just going to go over 4 of them. So one of them being leadership. Leadership is important in occupational therapy to ensure we uphold the values of the profession and act in a respectable manner. As healthcare professionals, we need to be leaders in implementing new health practices and continuing the journey of learning, as well as creating an inclusive environment. For Parkinson's disease, this may look like an OT leading educational sessions to other healthcare workers on Parkinson's and how to create a mutually beneficial relationship. Next is communication, which is another integral skill. We must be able to effectively communicate between patients, families, and other healthcare providers. Often, an OT takes the role of a liaison between different parties, and it is crucial we are able to convey the proper messages. This is to ensure patients' understanding of their situation and help lead to the best healthcare outcomes. Communication takes place not only verbally, but through written formats and body language as well. We need to ensure we are always conveying a proper message that is understanding to everyone. Another skill an OT has is versatility. So versatility allows us to work in various areas of healthcare and interact with all different populations. As Courtney mentioned, we may work in nonprofits such as PSSO, a home care setting, or a clinic. By being versatile in our strengths, we can provide well-rounded care that incorporates numerous perspectives and skills. And then finally, advocacy is one of the biggest skills that comprises an OT. In our profession, we advocate for our patients to receive the best care that they can. This can could include advocating for them to receive more input in their care plan, advocating for different equipment to be used, and even at the higher levels of advocating to governing bodies regarding health policy. So although there are many different areas, some places that we thought an OT role may intersect with Parkinson's involves assistive devices, which we'll go over much more in detail today, medication management, falls prevention, energy conservation, and mental health.
So, like Megan mentioned, assistive devices are going to be the bulk of our presentation moving forward. So we'll just touch on briefly what they are and how they might help. So assistive devices are tools, equipment, or products that help someone to complete the activities they wish to engage in. So they range in terms of something more simplistic and low tech to more complex and high tech, and can be used in a variety of different ways to support an individual in completing activities meaningful to them. Assistive devices work to mitigate or eliminate difficulties that might be limiting someone's ability to complete activities and can give them back a desired level of independence, confidence, and safety. And for the purposes of this webinar, we will discuss 3 categories of assistive devices that may be beneficial in the lives of those living with Parkinson's. We will discuss devices for the bedroom, bathroom, and mobility. In the bedroom, many assistive devices exist for getting in and out of bed safely and comfortably, positioning while in bed, and maintaining safety while in bed or moving about the bedroom. These devices can be beneficial in addressing stability, balance, and mobility concerns typical of Parkinson's. In the bathroom, many assistive devices aim to make transfers easier, be this on or off the toilet or in and out of the shower, as well as provide energy-conserving means for completing daily activities of self-care. Many of these devices are beneficial in combating fatigue and providing safety measures to reduce falls risks. And lastly, we will discuss mobility devices. These range in level of assistance provided and can be extremely beneficial to combat the balance, muscle strength, and postural challenges typical of the disease.
So now we'll be going into a demonstration, and then I'm just going to share a new video. So where we'll begin is in the bedroom. Transfer boards are typically used when the person has difficulties transferring from a seated position. For example, going from wheelchair to bed or seated chair to bed. There are 2 different types. Your typical board is the wood one, and the cue board is in blue. You would use the wooden board in larger areas where the seat can be placed at a 45-degree angle from the next surface, and the cue board in a smaller room where the seat is directly parallel with the bed. With this device, the person is able to safely transfer from one surface to the other. So you're going to have the seated individual lean to the side a little so that part of the board can slide underneath them. The board is then broken into thirds with the middle here and then the end, and then you scoot yourself into the middle, and then you slide yourself into the next section to sit on the bed. You then have the person lean to the side to take the board out. These boards are best used with those who have upper mobility control and trunk control, as they'll have to be able to control themselves to go over each section of the board. If you may have difficulties with holding yourself up high, this might not be for you, as it could potentially lead to a fall. Next is a hospital bed. These allow you to change positions while still in bed. For example, it lets you raise your upper half while keeping the rest of your body lowered. As you can see in the video, the bed's upper half is raising. For Parkinson's, this could be helpful with breathing positions, possible acid reflux from gastrointestinal issues, and sitting in a higher position to make getting out of bed easier. The lower end, where the legs rest, can also change in height, which may help with body stiffness and rigidity. Hospital beds are also helpful, as some have built-in bed rails that can be easily raised and lowered. Bed rails are helpful if you have issues such as falling out of the bed, and many more benefits that will be mentioned in the next section. So bed rails are a great way to stay safe while still in bed. There are numerous different types, and they all provide similar functions. With this one, it fits underneath the mattress, and you want to ensure that the legs are firmly on the floor to provide maximal stability. With other types, such as the one shown right now, they go onto the side of the bed frame and can be tightened onto it. So you can see with this one's a bit higher, and then you would tighten it on the side there with the screws. Bed frames are very beneficial as they can be easily removed and transportable to different places. They can also prevent falling off the bed and helping, and if you have issues moving around a lot. With this type of one, it's a bit smaller, so depending on the bed frame or how your bedroom is set up, it might be helpful. So as you can see, the bed rail helps you with going from standing to sitting, and then it can help you with leaning down into bed as well. You want to make sure the placement is beneficial to where the side of where you would best be able to enter the bed. And then it can help you with leaning over and getting out of bed, sitting up, and then do sitting to standing again. Parkinson's positioning can be difficult, and bed rails are also helpful with being able to pull yourself up if you found you have slipped too far down the bed. The standing grab bar is a secure way to provide stability in any area of your home. As you can see, this one is only about my height, so about 5 foot tall, and it can be easily maneuvered around. It's clipped to the bottom of your floor so that it provides maximal stability. It can help with sit to stands, maneuvering around your home, and then doing standing to sitting. One caveat is that it's fairly permanent and can't be moved easily. So bed ladders are helpful when sitting up in bed can be difficult. Installation varies for each type of bed ladder, but for this one, it would loop through the legs of the bed frame. There are all different types. The one example was a wooden one, but this one is another one that is fabric, where you use loops to pull yourself up with instead of wooden prongs. So once the ladder is in place, you grab onto each prong to slowly pull yourself up into an upright position, which can help getting out of bed. Finally, we have the blanket cradle. So as you can see, the blanket cradle is a metal frame type device that you can adjust width and height wise to best accommodate your bed and your size. The blanket cradle is used well for people who may have skin issues towards their legs or feet, and you don't want the blanket to touch your feet. It can help as well with foot drag or foot drop, rather than have the weight of the blanket constantly pushing your feet down while in bed. The blanket cradle allows them to stay upright. In addition, it keeps the blankets out of your way, out of the way of your feet, so that if you're trying to maneuver around, the blankets don't get tangled at the bottom. It's very lightweight and easily transportable as well. So as you can see, you have the head of the bed at the top, and then you would put the blanket cradle at the foot of the bed. So you would position it where you find your feet would land. You can either keep the blankets loose to let air through if it's in the hot weather, if you heat easily, or you can tuck the blankets at the end to allow the heat to stay trapped in. Next, you can see the feet. So as you can see, my feet are able to stay upright and easily move around. I can reposition in bed without my blankets getting all tangled, and it allows me freedom from the lower end.
All right, so now we're going to move on and talk about devices in the bathroom. We're going to start with what is called a toilevator. So in the bathroom, one of the main concerns for safety and mobility is transferring on and off the toilet. So if you experience difficulties with balance or with standing from a seated position, some sort of raised toilet might facilitate easier transfers and reduce the risk of falls. So here we have the toilevator pictured on the bottom. As you can see, this device is a permanent installation that acts to create about 3 inches of height to the toilet, while still being discreet and hygienic and functional for users who may not need the extra support. So a second option to make transferring on and off the toilet easier is a removable raised toilet seat. These can be purchased with or without handles, depending on the user's needs, and are easily installed on any standard toilet seat. These again make sitting down and getting up off the toilet easier and offer more stability while seated. The raised toilet seat is a more affordable and less permanent option than a toilevator, but may pose some hygienic concerns. Here you'll see a safe demonstration of use. So Megan will reach behind her and grasp the handles to help lower herself down and sit comfortably. And then when standing, she'll use the handles to support herself as she pushes off. Another option to make transferring on and off the toilet easier is a VersaFrame. These devices easily screw into the frame of the toilet and have height and width adjustable arms to accommodate all body types. These arms act to support your weight as you lower yourself on and off the toilet and offer stability and balance control, reducing falls risks. Next, we have an example of a grab bar. These grab bars are acting as an alternative to a VersaFrame. These particular bars are permanently installed into the wall and can be tucked away for non-users. Grab bars exist in a variety of options and can be individualized with the help of an OT to fit your needs. Next, we have a transfer shower bench. A common concern with Parkinson's, and one that OTs provide a lot of support in, is falls prevention. The bathroom is one of the most common locations for falls, particularly when transferring in and out of the shower due to the slippery surfaces. A transfer shower bench can help mitigate this risk and can also provide energy conservation while bathing. These devices are particularly useful for transferring over the side of the tub and allow your body to be fully supported as you enter and exit the tub. While in the shower, these benches can also help you conserve energy and allow you to relax and enjoy the shower instead of focusing on maintaining balance and posture. To use this device, you would carefully use your hands to guide your body down as you sit on the edge outside of the tub. You would then swing your feet over the side and use your hands to guide your body to the center of the bench where you can now bathe comfortably. Secondly, if transferring in and out of the tub is not an issue, or if you have a walk-in shower, a shower chair may be a good alternative option if you would still like to sit to bathe. These chairs again allow you to sit comfortably and conserve energy. A couple bathing accessories that can also help conserve energy and reduce the risk of falls are a long-handled sponge and a detachable shower head. Whether seated or standing, a long-handled sponge and detachable shower head may be useful options if you have issues with balance or posture. These allow you to cleanse lower or harder to reach areas of the body without bending, straining, or reaching. Devices such as these reduce the risk of falls, provide energy conserving means, and can help increase hygiene. So here we have another option of a grab bar. You can see that it is installed on the edge of the tub to help provide support as you transfer from in and out of the tub. When installing grab bars, do not purchase suction cup grab bars or anything that isn't going to be strongly and reliably installed and able to support your full weight.
Okay, so in our final section, we're going to talk about mobility aids. So mobility aids can compensate for reduced balance, strength, weight bearing, coordination. It can help relieve pain during ambulation. You want to select a mobility aid that allows you to use the strength and mobility that you have on your own, but that offers just the right amount of support to accommodate any difficulties you may be experiencing. So many different options exist to suit the majority of mobility needs. The first one we'll be talking about is canes. Canes can be helpful when looking for a smaller, more non-invasive mobility device. They come in different forms, with a typical cane having just one base point. These are called single-point canes. A cane with more stability has a larger base with 4 prongs, and they're called quad canes. So when properly measuring for a cane, you want to ensure that the handle of your cane reaches the inside of your wrist crease, as shown here, when standing at full height with your arms at the side. So in this case, this cane would be way too high for me because the handle is much above my wrist crease. Then when safely walking with a cane, you want to make sure that the cane is on your strong side. So on the opposite of your affected. So in this case, my left is affected, therefore my cane is on my right side. I would then step with my strong side first, and then bring my cane and affected side together. You want to make sure all 4 prongs are on the ground before you fully step. And you want to make sure you're doing this at the same time. So both cane and affected leg together. You can once again see here, strong first, then affected in cane next. And that they're walking together at the same time and landing on the ground at the same time together.
Okay, so next we're going to talk about walkers. The walkers offer more support than canes in that they have a wider base of support and are able to support more of your full weight. So pictured, we have 2 common walkers, the first being the rollator and the second being the standard walker. So the standard walker has no wheels and is typically easily folded and stored. While wheels reduce friction and aid mobility, standard walkers offer a more stable base of support and are better at supporting your full body weight. With this type of walker, you do need to have adequate arm and grip strength as you are required to lift the walker with each step rather than relying on the wheels to do the work for you. While walking with this type of walker may take more energy and arm strength, the support the legs offer are beneficial if your balance issues are more severe and you require more stability. Rollator walkers, on the other hand, have 4 wheels and typically a seat. These are useful if you can support the majority of your balance and weight on your own while walking, but require additional support and a place to sit to take breaks. Additionally, grip strength is required to effectively squeeze and engage the brakes. These types of walkers tend to be more maneuverable and better on uneven terrain than a standard walker, but they also tend to be heavier and harder to transport. In this video, you can see Megan demonstrating how to properly walk with a standard walker. She is moving the walker forward and walking into the walker once all 4 legs have touched the ground. If you have a weaker or less stable side, step with that leg first and follow with your stronger leg. You can also see she has a nice, tall posture and is looking forward as she walks. She is not rushing and is taking small, manageable steps. Here, Megan is demonstrating how to not walk with a standard walker. She is rushing, taking too large of steps, and is walking into the walker before all 4 legs are firmly on the ground. She also has a stooped posture and is looking downwards. This position will cause the walker to be at the incorrect height for her body and will not provide safe mobility or stability as she transports. Here, you can see Megan demonstrating how to properly walk with the wheeled rollator walker. She is taking small, manageable steps and is keeping the walker closely in front of her as she walks, not letting it get too far ahead. She has a nice, tall posture and is looking forward as she walks. Now she is engaging her brakes as she comes to a stop before she sits down. She uses the handles to help guide her body down as she sits, and again uses them to guide her as she stands. Once she is standing, she disengages the brakes and continues walking. Now you can see Megan demonstrating how to not walk with a rollator walker. She is letting the walker get too far ahead of her. She has a stooped and rounded posture and is looking downwards as she moves. This positioning is not safe and can lead to the walker slipping out from underneath her. She also does not engage the brakes as she sits, creating a potentially dangerous situation in that the walker can again slip out from underneath her as she sits or stands back up. So now we'll discuss a 2-wheeled walker or a hybrid walker. Our school didn't have an option, so we're just going to show a picture. But these walkers are a mix of a rollator and a standard walker. So they have 2 wheels in the front and 2 legs in the back. These walkers offer partial support of weight and balance while requiring less arm and grip strength than a standard walker. So these options do not typically feature a seat, which makes them lightweight and easy to fold and store. The benefit to a hybrid walker is that they support balance and weight and offer ease of movement without fear of the walker slipping out from underneath you. You would walk with this walker the same way you would a standard walker. However, you would not have to lift this walker as much with each step. Rather, you would lift it slightly and let the front wheels do the rest of the work. So lastly, a wheelchair offers the maximum amount of mobility assistance and can help someone where independent mobility is not possible and more support is needed. Wheelchairs are highly individualized and require assessments to ensure proper seating and posture. Without a proper fitting wheelchair, you might be at risk for pressure sores or skin breakdown or improper postural alignment. An OT can assess you for a well-fitting and appropriate wheelchair to fit your mobility and safety needs and will provide all necessary education on propelling the chair safely and effectively given your personalized needs.
So that was kind of our explanations on all the different assistive devices. So now we'll just be going into a wrap up and then leading into the Q&A. So now you may be wondering how you can actually find an OT that can help you with doing home assessments and figuring out what devices that may be beneficial for you. So one of the first ways is through referral. Many private OTs across Ontario accept patients through a referral. Some OTs may want a specific doctor or physician referral, while others may just want it to be from another healthcare professional, such as a nurse. After that, you can use the Ontario Society for Occupational Therapists website, as they have a feature on their site that allows you to search for private OTs in your area. So by Googling OSOT, find an OT, one of the first links will lead you to their geographic map where you can input your location and help find a private OT. The next one is the HCCSS. It was formerly called the LIN. So you can call the call the HCCSS and use their services to get connected with an OT in your area. You can also use an online self-referral form and send it through email. So their phone number is 310-2222 with no area code. And then the website you would call or website you would visit is healthcareathome.ca/making a referral. The referral form is different and region-based. So when you go onto their website, you want to make sure that you're going within your region, which would be Southwestern Ontario area. Finally, there's also private home healthcare. So various in-home healthcare organizations also offer OT services. Their insurance coverage may vary for each individual, as well as the OT rates may vary between each one. 3 companies that we're aware of that offer OT services are Paramed, VHA, and CBI Health. Though we don't specifically endorse a single one, those are just what we're aware of that's out there. Next, as we all know, assistive devices can be a bit expensive and not always easy to purchase. So there are a few options that could help. The first being the Adaptive Device Program, or ADP, which is offered through the Ontario government. It covers 75% of the cost, and then depending on your insurance or what other resources you have available to you, they might be able to cover the other 25%. Unfortunately, it's only valid for certain devices, which tend to follow along the mobility and oxygen type and less of the home modification. You will also need to make sure that you have a formal assessment from an ADP certified individual. OTs can be ADP certified, but not every OT is. Typically, when you go in stores to different assistive device stores or medical equipment stores, they may have someone on site who is ADP certified. Another option is March of Dimes. So March of Dimes is a Canadian-wide organization that provides funding to those with a lower income. There is a limited number of funding, therefore the application is strongly financially based. Their breadth is much larger than the ADP, and they can cover cover mobility as well as home and environment modifications. With March of Dimes, they also provide assessment services, and they will come in person to your home or talk with you via Zoom to help you determine what devices you may need. Then finally, there are special groups. So these are sources of funding where the individual either has to be part of a certain social group, it's region-based, or there's some other characteristic that you may have to have. One of the most popular ones being Veterans Affairs. So as the name applies, you have to be a veteran to be able to qualify. Additionally, they have their own set list of equipment that must follow certain criteria in order to be eligible for funding. And then examples of other local supports and groups that may be helpful with finding funding or possible loans or places to get devices are Kiwanis clubs as well as Lions clubs. And these typically tend to be more regionally based.
So lastly, we'll just discuss where you might be able to find some of the devices we talked about today. So assistive devices and medical supply stores can be found all over the province or online. There are tons of options for online retailers, including Amazon or Canadian-based stores, agecomfort.com or seniorstore.ca. If you prefer an in-person shopping experience to see and interact with the equipment beforehand, you can easily find stores in your area through a quick Google search. Keep in mind, though, that many of these stores carry much different supplies, and you might consider calling ahead of time if you're looking for something very specific. So another method to find stores near you is by using the Southwest Healthline website. This website covers all Southwest regions of Ontario, and through a simple search of their website, you'll be returned with a list of equipment stores in your area, their contact information, and a description of their supplies. Lastly, if you're looking for something more specifically related to mobility, the Assistive Devices program that Megan mentioned has an interactive map on their website that allows you to see stores in your area that carry specific mobility equipment. So that is all we have today. We want to thank everyone for joining our webinar this afternoon, and we'll now open up the floor for any questions.
I would like to show you what I have done in my home. Just interesting. I didn't ask it out here or anything. Change this. Can you see? Where are we? What can you see?
We can see a railing.
Okay. Yeah, I live in a bungalow. And this is a railing that I put up. And it's at my level. And it goes right along the side. So it moves easily. It's great for walking.
Yeah.
The other thing is satin sheets will help you move over and turn over in bed.
Yes, we've heard a lot about those.
Yeah.
Those are two.
Yeah, glad to hear that's helpful.
Yeah. So I just wanted to show you the railing on the corridor.
Yeah, no, thank
Lovely.
you.
It just goes to show there's so many other devices out there that we didn't even get to touch on today.
I had a carpenter make it for me.
Oh, cool. Very nice.
Yeah.
Too bad we can't see. A friend of mine bought a bidet, a portable bidet. Well, I guess it's portable, but anyway, that attaches to the toilet. It's very useful, that she finds useful. I haven't tried it yet, but it's small and it just goes under the toilet seat.
Yeah.
I guess it depends what type of toilet seat you're using, but it's just,
Courtney and Megan, can I ask that you just stop sharing because we can't see what the other people are speaking of? Thank you. Does anybody have any further questions?
I just want to say that one thing, if you like to bake and cook and all that kind of stuff, having a stool or something just to conserve energy when you're peeling potatoes and those kinds of things, that's very helpful.
Yes,
That kind of thing.
definitely.
and you probably could hear the plane going over. But anyway, those are just some interesting things to do. And to sit to do different things, eh?
Yeah, no, for sure.
Right.
Any other questions from anyone?
And if anyone has anything they think of later, we're here until Friday and would love to be in contact.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Megan and Courtney, for your presentation. And I love the visual demonstration. I think that's extremely helpful in order to be able to see the pieces that you're talking about. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining us, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.